All right, I'm reading Kamala Harris's book right now, 107 Days. And I'm not even past the first few chapters before something already feels off. And it's not even about politics. It's about loyalty. Because from what I'm reading, Kamala wasn't loyal to the American people. Like, I'm getting the sense that she was not even the sense, it's in the book. She was loyal to Joe Biden. And the craziest part, everyone in Biden's circle, the so-called inner team, seem more loyal to protecting Biden than protecting the country. But I'll break it all down for you right here. So Kamala starts the book off talking about how Biden called her early on one Sunday morning while she was making breakfast for her grandnieces. He called her to tell her he's dropping out of the presidential race, casually. I think she even mentioned that he called her on a block number. Sunday morning on a block number, casually just dropped that news to her. Now, of course, Biden says he's going to endorse Kamala, but he didn't tell her he isn't going to make that announcement right after he announced that he's dropping out of the race, that he wants to wait before making that announcement. According to Kamala, he claimed that it'll be too much for people to digest in just one day. Now, let's stop right there. That moment alone told me everything about that relationship and how it worked. Kamala wanted to handle things strategically. She wanted to make a clear statement, but Biden, on the other hand, he didn't want to move that way. And what's worse, his team went along with it. Man, there's even a moment where this guy, Steve, on Biden's team, agrees with Kamala. Biden is in the same room with Steve. He puts Steve on the phone to speak with Kamala, and Kamala explained to Steve how much of speculation is going to come out of them waiting and Biden not making that announcement the same day he announced that he's dropping out of the race. And this guy, Steve, says he agrees with Kamala, but then when it's time to stand up to Biden, he folds. To me, that's weak leadership. That's weak loyalty. Like, loyalty without truth is just manipulation. And then there's another part Kamala admits in the book that Biden would lean on her for ideas, but she was never part of the final decision making. So that made me curious. What's the point of being a vice president if you're not a part of those major decision making? Again, that tells me everything about the ego and power imbalance in that administration. Because how are you going to say someone's your partner in leadership, but you keep them out of the real conversations? That don't make sense. She even described in the book a moment before Biden's debate with Trump, where he called her when he was at Camp David, and she described how he sounded exhausted and unmotivated. Even his wife didn't even want him to debate, but his advisors, his inner team, they forced it because they wanted that split screen moment, not what's actually best for the country, but to them, what's best for optics. And Kamala wasn't even a part of that decision making. So again, that tells me she wasn't seen as a real partner. She was treated like a spokesperson. There was a quote when I was reading from this donor that really stood out to me that I want to highlight here. I believe his name, I be messing up names, so don't even hold me to it. But Rob Reiner, I believe that's his name. That quote hits hard because he said, "We're going to lose our effing democracy, and it's all your fault." He didn't say that to Kamala, but he said it while he was with Kamala's husband. And honestly, I agree with him, because if the people closest to power can't be honest with the president when the country is on the line, then what are we even doing? Again, that's not loyalty. That's being a coward. That's the kind of silence that kills democracy. All right, now, next thing I want to talk about is the Anderson Cooper interview after the debate. Anderson asked Kamala a direct question. He asked her, "Some within your own party are wondering if President Biden should step aside. What do you say to that?" And see, that right there, that was Kamala's moment to be real with the American people. Democracy was on the line, but instead of being honest, she danced around it, played politics, protected Biden. She chose to be loyal to him. She chose loyalty over honesty with us, over honesty with the American people. And here's what makes that even wild. In her book, Kamala quotes Richard Pryor. There was a joke where Richard Pryor gets caught cheating, and he says to his wife, "You gonna believe me or your lying eyes?" And Kamala literally said she would never do that to the American people, that she wouldn't jeopardize her credibility. But then she turned around and do exactly that in that interview. Before her 107 days journey, from what I'm reading, Kamala had already chosen her side, and it wasn't the American people, it was Joe Biden. And to me, that says a lot about what's wrong with politics today. It's not about leadership, it's about loyalty to personalities, not to principles. And if we're being real, that's why so many Americans don't trust government right now, because when it's time to speak truth to power, too many people go silent. So yeah, I respect Kamala Harris as a public servant, but what I'm reading so far, it sounds more like political survival. I'm just keeping it honest. So yeah, if you're reading this book also, please drop in the comment section. I want to interact with you and hear your thoughts. And let me know if you're seeing what I'm seeing, because I'm only on a couple chapters and already the loyalty is looking real one-sided. And I can say, they weren't loyal to Kamala Harris like she was loyal to them. So let me know how you're feeling about this. Like I said, I'm within the first few chapters, so I'm not that far yet, but I just felt like this is interesting. So as I continue to read, I will get on here and share some of my thoughts with you all right? Thank you for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe. Make sure you hit that post notification, like this up, and comment, please, because I will engage with you in the comment section. All right? Until next time, peace.